Hey there, thanks for coming to hang out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Brighten Day, and my goal is to lighten you up and to brighten your day. So please subscribe, like, and share this video. It really helps my channel grow. It's been a year of observing on our homestead, and now I know where all the best sunny spots are, so it's time to put up some garden fencing, and I wanted to share with you my frugal way to put up movable fencing on a budget. I'm using free posts that I made from small trees I cut down on our property, and then I cut them to be about 5 feet long. I also am reusing a broken rake handle because I can't attach anything to it, but it's really strong still, so we should reuse this. I'm also using some of these metal posts that I've had for years. Now, they're pretty expensive these days, so this would be an investment to make over time. I wouldn't buy many of these right now. I much prefer the metal posts to anything, but they're not free, and I much prefer to spend any budget on this metal fencing. It's 100 feet long and 4 feet tall. It lasts for years and years, and it's just so strong. It can carry vegetables, fruits, flowering vines. We keep our livestock, ducks and chickens, inside of it, and it also keeps our dogs outside of it. I like it that it is customizable to any shape that I could need it to be, and I can move it around the yard at any time. With wire cutters, I could cut small sections of this and put it around plants outside of the garden to protect them still. There's a video link in the description all about that. Check it out. I do love the small protective barriers on trees outside of the garden because it has really increased the amount of fruit and nut trees we're able to have on the property. You could also gather sticks for free posts. Just use your best judgment where you get them from. You could use string, longer, skinnier branches, or scrap wood to make the fencing part. But it is so worth the investment into the metal fencing. The time it takes for you to get a job and work to buy this fencing is much faster than to get all these free materials and then to put them all together. One roll of this only cost me $82 in tax this year. It may seem like a lot. Last year it was $76 in tax. I still have fencing from years and years ago that it was probably in the $50 range, but it's still going strong to this day, that it's worth the investment. You'll have this for years and years. Yay math, but you do you 100. Both work. I've pre-dug the holes already, and I even had to use a pickaxe because our soil here is very rocky. I recommend it if you're having trouble digging holes in your yard. I used a tape measure to space the holes 10 feet apart, and I dug the holes as deep as I possibly could. Digging the holes is the hardest part of this, so just do your best. I dug about a foot deep. That's why I cut 5-foot posts, and I have a 4-foot fence, so it should be pretty flush. I'll be using the same dirt to fill the hole and keep the post up and just pat it down really, really good. You could use cement, but cement is forever. I really prefer any day I could change this whole design whenever I want kind of approach. And good luck getting cement out of a hole once you place it in there. Put the fence post in the hole, and if you're using freshly cut wood, there's a chance that it can propagate itself and become a new tree. So to prevent that, you want to actually place the post upside down. Things have a very hard time propagating themselves if they're not right side up. I'll even be reusing this broken handle because it's just better for the environment to reuse this than to throw it away. It's super strong and perfectly good. With your chosen post, fill the hole up with dirt. Stomp on this dirt as hard as you can and compact it and visualize that it's kind of cement and just keep pushing it and pushing it until it gets really hard and trampled. You got this. It's really going to help hold the post up. You don't want to skip the trampling part at all. If it happens to rain, your post will fall over. If you're using dried out wood that's dried for like a year, it shouldn't really matter what way you do it. That's another reason why I really like these metal posts, because you don't have to worry about this at all, but these are almost $10. That's so expensive. Over time, I'll probably invest in more metal posts as I can afford it, and that's one of my favorite parts about this. You can dig this hole up and re-put another new post in there so easily. Cement would make this so hard to do. Although with cement, you wouldn't have to worry about the tree propagating itself no matter which way you plant it, so that's a cool benefit. Do the same process for the rest of your posts. When you're done with that, you're ready to install the fencing. You do really want to pay attention to the entranceway to your garden. I suggest putting a post there so the fence can easily open and close. I've studied and practiced permaculture for years, and proper planning and placement can be so impactful on your space. I want to maximize my growing space and sun exposure and create warm microclimate beds in the garden amongst the orchard that we just planted from bare root trees. There's a video link in the description teaching you all about what bare root trees are and how to plant them. And if you'd like a video explaining more about the pocket beds and permaculture and how you can benefit from them, let me know in the comments. If you need to make another post for your entryway, go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go fill in the rest of the posts. I like to start unrolling my fencing, starting at my doorway, and then I work to an end, and then I will come back to my doorway and work to the other end. I secure it using zip ties. Now, I'm kind of short on them. I only have 2 zip ties for each post. I'll be using string if it needs to be secured any extra. Now, string is very sensitive to the elements and will degrade really quickly and need to be replacing. So I highly recommend getting zip ties, but you work with what you have. You're gonna wanna leave a little bit extra over the sides because I kind of like shape it and wrap it around it like a claw to make it hold itself to the post. And the metal's really pliable, so it's really easy to like kind of crunch around each post so it grabs on a hold really well. And then I'm just gonna continue down the garden this way and keep installing the fence. It's really neat. You kind of keep the center together and just kind of pull it up and literally drag it and unroll it as easy as you can to the other end. I've got one end all the way rolled out. I haven't secured them yet because I like to pull the fence really tightly from one end to the other and know exactly how much tightness, looseness I could have. I prefer it to be as tight as possible. And then using the wire cutters, use your best judgment. You could measure it as well. I've done this so many times at this point. I can just eyeball and know to get to this tree how much fencing I'm gonna need to be able to attach it here. It's not much, but I also do a little bit extra. And not much, but I'll add a little extra and I'm okay having it a little loose over here versus cutting it too short and not even be able to meet the fence anymore. Using wire cutters, I just cut as close to one of the sides as I can. That way it kind of ends up making this like finger of metal at the very end, and I'll use that to secure itself to the fence or to the tree. So when you're making your cuts, just make sure to give yourself that little extra room instead of cutting it too short, and that can't wrap around anything and it's just something spiky poking out. Now that it's all cut, I'm gonna use those metal fingers that I mentioned to loop each one along the chain link fence, and it's gonna hold itself there securely. You see these metal fingers things that I'm mentioning? That's what I'm using to just literally wrap around, and it just holds itself. It's so neat. And it just loops around, see? The dogs can't get in, no one's gonna get in this thing. I'm very dainty, and that makes it a little easier as well. My hands and arms literally, they fit through the hole. So you may have a little more trouble with this if you're a little bigger, but you could still do it. I'm going to add the zip ties. The reused shovel ended up being kind of short, but it's okay, it still works. It's still very strong. I like to add a zip tie to the top and as well to the bottom, and then in the middle, I'll add any zip ties or string that might be necessary to help it. Move on to our gate again and continue on finishing the rest of the fence. Cut away at the ends again to make these fingers because I'm going to use them and bend them to attach to make a door frame. So when we come and go, it's easy to open and close, but secure when we're not here. Oh. Take each finger and gently bend it across to kind of secure it, but not super secure because like this is a door. You're gonna open it and close it, but you want it to latch on a little bit. See? It makes sense in person. It might look a little weird on camera, but I promise you this works. Now, it'll be like a door. It's easy to open it and close it. I take the rest of the roll and just keep unrolling it all the way till the very end. I have a second roll because this is only 100 feet long and I'm positive I'm going to need a second roll. I need to now make a right angle. I realize that just putting your zip ties on now, it's gonna help keep everything tight and straight as you go around your new direction. I'm gonna go straight all the way down there to the end of my fence. It's a bit more difficult to roll as it gets a lot smaller. I don't know why that is, but it definitely takes more force to open and unroll this, but it's so worth it. So I've come to the end of this first roll. I'm going to use these fingers from the second new roll, and I'm going to use them to latch on to this bar on the very end of it, and you fold the sides over and it will attach itself. It's a little tricky, but it works. Now I just made 2 fences into 1. Hallelujah! This roll is really big, but I'm only going to need probably another 20 or 30 feet of it. Luckily, there's a lot left over to make smaller cages for the specimen plants outside of the garden. There's a video link in the description to check that out, how to make them yourself. They're really useful. It's rolled all the way to the end of the fence. Now I'm just adding the zip ties. So we've made it to the end of the fence. I'm again going to use the wire cutters and snip the edges and leave some finger room in case I need it. If I don't, that's cool, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Looks like I cut that perfectly, and it's just reaching the fence, and it's going to have enough to use those fingers to latch itself onto our chain link fence. Because I made sure to keep these finger things alive, I can easily attach them to the chain link fence. You just wrap it around there and it will stay secure. Yes, isn't that so cool? Well, we did it, guys. We made a super secure place for our garden and for us to get away to. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. And please be sure to check out that video, cutting small barriers out of the wire fencing to protect your specimen plants.